right, this video is gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna talk to you guys about what I was doing back then in Jamaica, how I was filming, how I was shooting, what it took, what did I miss, what did I not do, what did I do essentially when I was shooting in Jamaica, and what's the big difference now. So I'm gonna just talk to you guys just a little bit about that, and yeah, let's get into it. Cool. All right, so let's talk about the first thing. Oh, and at the end of the video, I'm going to show you guys essentially an example of what I was doing before in comparison to what I'm doing now in shooting and my style. For the first thing is overcoming copying others. I think when I first started, I think it was in 2022. Yeah, when I first started shooting, I didn't know what I was doing. I was kind of lost. We're going to talk about a little bit more about that later on. I didn't know what I was doing, so I was on the internet looking for people who kind of do the same thing that I wanted to do in a sense, and I stumbled up across an influencer. His name is Joel, and he was doing exactly what I wanted to do ish, kind of, because again I was kind of lost, and I said, okay, cool, let me try this, but that never really worked. That didn't really work because I was just going back to his page, looking what he was doing, and then just doing the same thing. Not the same shots, but just stealing his ideas and just implementing into mine. I didn't have any form of identity. And I think that's one of the things us as creatives or us as persons who are within the field kind of neglect, is a sense of identity. And this is what brands would look for. What is it that makes you separate and apart from everyone else? Is it your personality or is it your shooting style? I didn't know any about that when I was shooting in Jamaica. I didn't know anything about that 2 years ago. Overcoming it, I think even to this day, you're still trying to find your identity. However, how you find that is, I think, it's just intertwining the two. How great you are at this along with your personality. I think that's one of the best ways to do it, and I'm trying to get into that. So like right now, I'm trying to incorporate my personality with how I'm shooting, what I'm doing, my ideas. I think everyone has a different perspective, as I said in the last video, a different perspective to the same problem, a different solution to the same problem. 2 + 2 is 4, but 3 + 1 is also 4, if you get what I'm saying, if that makes sense. That should make sense. That's easy math, yeah? Yeah. The second thing that we're going to talk about is learning how to tell a story, frame by frame. Okay, so let me just be honest with you. So if I never knew who I was then, I didn't know nothing about telling a story. I didn't know a darn thing about telling a story frame by frame. So that was definitely not in my mind at the time. I think how I learned how to tell a story, or even I'm still learning how to. I'm reading this book called Tell to Win. Big up Artie, the chef boy, for loaning me that book. And it kind of helps you to understand what it takes to tell a story. You can also watch my video on storytelling that gives you a more in-depth feel as to what I'm talking about. And to tell a story, you have to look at how do you want your audience to interpret it, right? That was out of my mind. I didn't know. I was just shooting. I just took up the camera, turned on the camera. At the time, I think I was even shooting auto. Okay, that's a lie. I always shot manual. That's a lie. I didn't. What? Shoot auto? What are you talking about? Hold on, let me set this. So with storytelling and doing it frame by frame, that was definitely out of my mind because I didn't know what I was doing. So I think how the first thing that helped me to tell the story, and I think it was an amazing shoot. I know that Steve McCleary, big up Steve, Steve McCleary, he went to NCU at the time, and I think they shot this Hall's video. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, well put together. It told a true story. And when I saw that, I was like, yo, it means a lot more when each frame or when each shot leads up to the next. It tells a better story. So that when I did that, I copied it. I said, oh, he's gonna walk in the puddle. Oh, let me try and walk. Let me show my feet first, and then show my some parts of my body, and then show my facial expression, shot by shot. Then that's how you then show or tell people that, okay, this is how a story is told, and so on and so forth. So that was actually very, 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 very helpful. Big up Steve and whoever shot that Hall's commercial thingy. Big up on yourself. So the next point is starting out feeling lost. I think when I first started, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So when I first bought the camera, I didn't know that I wanted to go into content creation or filmmaking or just being a regular camera assistant at my church, which is how I started. So I kind of felt lost. And I was also doing marketing at the time, as you would have seen in my first ever video of this series. I felt completely lost. I genuinely didn't know what to do. So how I navigated through that was experimenting within the social media aspect. What did I like? What did I enjoy doing? What was the process like for me? What is that joyful process? So I had to really think about that. And again, when you kind of feel lost, another thing with social media is that you're so overwhelmed with 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds, a lot of people who do the same thing or are the same age as you, but are doing way better than you. So you kind of have that like, oh wow, what am I doing wrong? That was overwhelming for me at the time. So how you navigate through that, or better yet, how I navigated through that, was experimenting. Like doing what you saw other people doing, but then when you test the waters, then you realize, oh, I kind of like this. Let's kind of get a little bit more in it. You get what I'm saying? So that's how I kind of navigated through such mindset of lost. And another thing is that during that process of feeling lost, I got a lot closer with Christ. And I think when you get a lot closer with Christ, you kind of have that, I don't know, it just feel purposeful instead of purposeless. Like you have some substance, because now you're searching for something with him in it. You get what I'm saying? Like that. Hopefully that makes sense. So those are the 3 points, but let me bring you guys home, and then we're going to break down some of the clips that I was talking about, and we're going to see the difference between me shooting then in comparison to me shooting now, and what I've done different in aligning myself to be an aspiring filmmaker. So let's talk about that. So see you guys home. That's kind of weird still. Yeah, that kind of weird. Yeah. We're home, and let's kind of give this Alright, so we're home. We're back home. I have one of my old videos from 2022. One of my first ever videos that I made. I was home in the park at home in Jamaica, and let's analyze it. Let's break it down. Let's do it as quickly as possible, and let's then compare it to one of my recent videos that I did a whole different type of video as well. So let's also analyze that one as well. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, so for the first part, we're gonna play. Let's turn this down. Interesting. Okay. Okay. think that's it. That's it. Add the aperture sign. That's nice. All right, so let's analyze the first part when I got out the car into the, like, heading to the trunk. Let's bring that up and let's look at this, right? The first 6 seconds of the video. And then, so I think let's give it, let's look at my mindset at the time. So what I wanted to do at the time, if I remember correctly, was to put emphasis on me capturing the moment. I think that was the whole reason of the video then. In the park, cause just got my camera, just learned how to compose, and so on and so forth. So the first 6 seconds, what would I change? Very interesting, very interesting. I think the first shot is okay, where you got out the car, right? Would I have taken it from that said angle? Probably not. Tell me what you guys think. How you guys would approach the video as well. I would have taken it from like a more. Actually, no. This shot is fine. I think the pacing of the edits is an issue. That's the first thing. The pacing of it. Even though the song is slow and all of that, I think the pacing is just not as well constructed as I would have wanted it to be. No, right? Let's play on after the 6 seconds. All right, so then and there, at 7 seconds, I looked at the camera. One thing you don't want to do is break the fourth wall of film, if I'm saying that properly. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But the fourth wall is looking directly in the camera, right? It just breaks the whole feel of the film. It breaks the whole feel of the video when you look directly in the camera. Yeah, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. So I looked directly in the camera and I was walking a bit slow. I don't think I needed to have shown me walking to the trunk to then open the trunk and then to show a POV of the bag of me taking out the camera. I don't think I needed to do all of that. One of the things that I highlighted in my storytelling video is to keep the audience guessing, right? Meaning, I don't need to show every single thing on how I got to the trunk. I don't need to show that. I just need to show that I got to the trunk. So that's why you see some of the clips in movies that, okay, he got out of the car, and he went to the trunk. The next shot should possibly be me opening the trunk and taking out the camera, right? So I think that's one. Let's continue. Yeah, nah. And then another shot of me looking into the, yeah, no. Closing the trunk. Another thing that I want to highlight though is whenever you're shooting, you learn this in, it's called the 180-degree rule. So if you're shooting a scene, right, you don't want to shoot a whole 360. So meaning, if you're going to stay on the right side of the character, of the talent, you stay on the right side of the talent. So you can shoot back, front, and their right side, but not their left side. Then you're breaking the 180-degree rule. There are ways you can break the rule if you want to show like discomfort, or a lot of cinematographers tilt the camera in a certain way where it just doesn't look appealing to the eye. So it kind of shows that the talent is going through something. But in this case, on the side of the trunk, I showed the left side. When I was shooting initially on the right side, I would just have continued on the right side of the shot, showing me closing the trunk. That's what I would have done differently now. And then this, so I went to this long shot, this wide shot. You can see when the zoom started. You don't want it. You want continuity as smooth as possible. So yeah, nah, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Come on, Ramon. What were you thinking? I wasn't thinking, clearly. Yeah, nothing is wrong with the long shot though. Yeah, I pointed out the things I would have done differently. Definitely a whole lot, 100,000%. Definitely would not have shot it the way how I shoot now. But then again, it was one of my first videos. 40 seconds, almost a minute of you watching something when this could have been like 20-second video. If I'm being very real with you. Once we chop properly and get the pace right, we can tell a better story. The same thing, just a lot better, a lot more cohesive in a sense. Cool, so now we're gonna look at one of my most recent videos, and then we're gonna dissect it as to what I could have done differently and what I think to this day I could have definitely done differently. Big up to Dimitri, big up my bro, man, what a guy. A true artist, brilliant photographer. Cool, so let's analyze it. We're not gonna analyze everything because everything has a deeper meaning, if I'm being very honest with you. I intentionally shot and made the sound design and done the wipes, the whip pans, the flares, all of that purposely, like to the T. All of them have a different message, all of them everything is coherent, everything means something, right? So we're gonna do the first 20 seconds. Let's do the first 20 seconds and then I'm gonna let you guys go. If you stay to the end of this video, big up on yourself. And then I'm gonna share with you guys the backstory. So let's do the first 20 seconds. Or better yet, the first couple shots. So when I sat down and give you guys the process behind. So when I sat down, when Demetrius came to me and he said, "Yo, bro, I wanna expound on my portfolio." He loves essence, he loves perfumes, he loves colognes, and he said he wanted me to be one of his shooters, or better yet, the shooter for the video aspect of the whole portfolio. So I said, all right, cool, say less. This is from, we shot this in July, I think July. He told me about this in like April. So I had a good while to think about it. While I was doing work and I still had school, and I think it was the week before, I said, yo, let me just sit down and think through this thoroughly and kind of get what he wants. So he gave me full creative freedom. Big up Demetrius again. Big up the models, big up the talents. Amazing people. So the first 12 seconds, he wanted to portray New York or tie in New York with sense. So along with that was wardrobe, how the woman would look, how the ladies would look, and how I can portray that and connect everything into it. So with the first person, which is Jax, big up Jax, she was streets. She was just the streets of New York. She was that's what she should exemplify. So the first couple shots, let's go back to like me on the roof. So I started with the buildings of New York. Whip pan, flares, all of that really quickly to the streets. You then see the streets being sped up like 3 seconds into the video itself. Then you see a guy running by, which then transitions to her, revealing her. So New York, the buildings, the streets, the business, then wraps up into her. And then I want to portray that with loudness. I'm going to show you guys that later. The loudness of the cologne. It's a very strong, vibrant, powerful, colorful cologne. I wanted to exemplify that as well into the video. So the first 4 seconds introduced her, New York, and what it means to connect it towards the scent itself. So then I had, let's go to her again. When she picked up the cologne, you saw her and how her beauty and how her colorfulness ties into New York as well, kind of giving you the vibe that she has on the cologne. I tied that into with the cart. I tied that in as well. First couple seconds, streets, and then this one shot, which is my favorite shot, one of my favorite shots. 7 seconds into it, it shows, you hear the beeps, you hear the noise, you hear New York in its entirety. And then I have this slow shutter shot, which focuses on her observing the noise, the streets, the buildings, with her loudness, with the cologne on her, on the perfume on her, while you see the busyness of the streets behind her walking by. So that shot in itself meant a whole lot. That was a shot that I wanted so badly. It was one out of 4 of the priority shots for this whole commercial video. And then the last shot, which is this is what I'm gonna talk about. I'm not gonna get further into it because I'm gonna let you guys go. Is the transition between street into elegance. So I wanted the scenery of a building. If you guys see here, Jack starts out with her kind of coming from the elegance back into the streets with the food cart there, and then Tash comes from the food cart side into elegance, which is kind of cool though, I'm not gonna lie. So it was very hard to capture this scene because of the like focus issues that my camera was giving me. just some me problem was anything major with the camera, I would say. But we finally got it and we nailed the focus things, and then we got it. And then that's how we went into the first elegant scene for this right here. So essentially the reason why it means so much to me is because of how much thought it took for me to get each shot, and what each shot meant to me, and what each sound meant to me, along with it tying up into this video piece that I presented to you guys. And I'm happy that my friend loved it, and it helped him to accomplish his dream with tying it into his portfolio, expanding it, and being able to present it to whatever companies or whoever companies would want to see his work and his directive and his directive process, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it for week 6. I want to say thank you guys for staying this long, tuning in, and big up on yourself all day, every day. Tell me if you guys like these breakdowns, what I could have done, what I shouldn't have done, what I still can do. Would I have changed anything from this video here? A couple of things, but if you guys wish to see more of this breakdown, comment below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share, of course. But yeah, big up on yourself all day, every day. Mad thing.